Alright, check this out. Today is what they call Palm Sunday. I'll tell you right now, I'm about to blow that out the water right now. That is a fallacy, that is wrong, and it's blasphemous to say Hosanna, Hosanna on this day. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the Jews of Jesus' time, who followed him around in droves and worshiped him and wanted to crown him, they praised him like he was a king coming into Jerusalem. They praised him and laid down their garments, the interests of a king, right? And this is all according to the Old Testament prophecies of the millennial reign of Christ. This is after the church age and everything in the book of Revelations, when Jesus rules the world after he has already judged and everything in the battle of Armageddon. And then he will rule in his resurrection body, perfect kingdom on earth, and there'll still be people that rebel against him. And that's the Gog and Magog revolution. But back to the subject at hand, the Jews wanted to crown him king. They wanted political advantage. They said Hosanna in the highest, which means free us, Son of David, free us. Free us from what? From the political structure of the Roman Empire that was over the Jews at that time. The Jews were not free. They were under them, and they had to live by those rules, and they had a lot of leeway. They were actually protected by the Roman Empire. It was national discipline by God, but it was also a protection. God's grace is always working with the Jews. But the fact of the matter is that they were confused about this, and they thought he was going to go, he was going to enter Jerusalem on that donkey, and that he was going to basically lead a revolution to overthrow the national entity of Rome and take back power. They wanted rulership. They wanted power. It's a power grab. They didn't have the capacity for it. That's why they were under discipline, because they weren't walking with God. They didn't have God in mind. The political leaders were so off base, they didn't know anything. That's why Jesus always kept correcting the Pharisees, kept correcting the Sadducees. The Sanhedrin was wrong. And so those people had it in their mind from them that they wanted to overthrow this political structure of the Roman Empire over them. The very next day or so, after he went to Jerusalem and he ate the Passover, and then the very next day, it was about 2 days later, he was standing in front of them, beat half to death with a crown of thorns shoved into his head, in chains, in front of Pontius Pilate. And they presented Barabbas, the murderer and the thief, and they said, "Who do you want me to release to you? We have this thing we have going on between the Roman Empire and the Jews, that we release one of your people to you who's condemned a year at this time for your feast." And they said, "Who do you want us to release? Barabbas, the murderer, or Jesus, who they say is the king of the Jews?" They say, "We have no king but Caesar. Crucify him." Those same people turned on him. Crucify him. They yelled it. So he went from chanting Hosanna, Hosanna, free us, Son of David, wanting to crown him, to yelling crucify him, wanting to crucify him, from crowned today and crucified tomorrow. Don't chant that. Don't put that in a post. Don't go to church and start acting like that's something to do, say, or believe in. You can't get the crown before the cross. Jesus had to redeem us on the cross. And so if you are chanting that Jewish sentiment, you're confused. You don't know. You don't understand. You need to get your head right, and you need to start getting some Bible doctrine right here, and you need to start applying it to your life, because you are totally off base. Just like those Jews who yelled crucify him after he didn't give them what they wanted. Happy Palm Sunday.